Walk into a park that gets a lot of visitors, and you're going to find a worn path. It's not been planned or even drawn on a map. It formed because people took the easiest route over and over until it became the obvious choice. The same thing can happen on your team. When you have a reliable person, someone who shows up consistently, they deliver, they don't complain, they can become the path of least resistance. And without meaning to, you keep walking to them. Extra project, they're the person. Urgent task nobody else can handle, they're the person. Something fell through the cracks, well, you know who you can count on. Now, consider this. In some teams that I've worked with, there are a handful of people who carry the biggest share of the load. And there are others who don't. Now, some struggle with the work, some grumble when things get hard, some just aren't reliable. So the leader takes the path of least resistance. They give the work to someone they trust. They avoid the friction of holding the other people accountable. And they tell themselves it's a compliment to keep asking the reliable ones. It isn't. And over time, the reliable person notices. They might not say it out loud, but they're doing more than their share, and they're watching others do less and wondering why that's okay with you. See, resentment doesn't show up waving a flag or blowing a horn. It builds quietly, and when it gets loud enough, your best person may just walk out the door. Now, let's look at the other side of this. When a leader is consistently shielding a struggling team member from the weight of their role, they're not helping that person. They're actually stunting them, stunting their growth. And people grow under a load, not under a fake version of their job that someone else quietly fixed for them. And when resistance becomes a reliable way to get out of hard work, you haven't solved a problem. You've just created a new one. So here's the reality. Most of the time, this isn't really about what's best for the team. It's about the leader's own discomfort, the conflict that would come from holding a standard, the conversation they'd rather not have, the fear of upsetting the underperformer. So they take the worn path and they transfer the discomfort straight onto their best people. Your strongest team members deserve standards that apply to everyone, not because it's fair in some abstract sense, but because the health, growth, and culture of the whole team depends on it. Look at where you keep going to. Look at who's carrying the extra weight and ask yourself honestly, am I going there because they're the right fit for the work or because it's easier than the alternative? The worn path can become the one you stop choosing on purpose. Something to think about. Now, go lead well. I'll see you next week.